that we have seen used successfully is, this is the blank format of it, but it's 3 tiers here that you see. So we talk about these tiers in the terms of the outer tier being the stakeholders, identifying who they are, who we're going to actually align ourselves with, or we want to speak to align with us around doing the action plan. The second tier is the community of the willing, those who are willing to implement and do the things down on the ground in community universities, in terms of the parent university, in terms of the literacy centers, in terms of mentoring, in terms of one-on-one. Maybe we might find we got enough black men to one-on-one connect with a young black person. Maybe that is a model but that'll all come out of your strategic planning process, data informed. So, and then the third tier, the middle tier, is for research, continuing to look at the policies, continuing to look at practices, continuing to look at the procedures, data informed, analyzing and coming back to the community saying, here are the trends, here's what's going on. We get focused on one thing and now the schools are closed. We can focus on another thing. Again, we're on a 360-degree attack, so taking just time to look at that. And there's information that describes approach to each of these tiers. The guide that we want to use, the very, very simple form, it is usable by scholars as well as community people. And it simply says, just let's talk about and identify very specifically the problems and the challenges that we have and that we have to overcome. Determine what it's going to take to overcome those. Right. We may have the capacity as a group to do that. We may need some allies. We may need to gather with some other folks, link with some more blocks, because the problems are common for many of us. So problems and challenges, a discussion around that, coming up with, and then prioritize. When they talk about low-hanging fruit, I think about it in terms of what we have the capacity to be successful with, to do. Develop the campaigns, the action items, identify who the partners might be in getting it done, the assets that are available. I repeat again, we're wealthy in more than just money. And so in that door-to-door process or in the organizing and outreach process, also ask what it is that skills-wise that people have to bring. What experience they have to share with some young people. What kinds of things that they can provide to the table just from their own being, just from, don't have to go nowhere else to get it, and see what that looks like, and we'll be surprised. Well, maybe you won't because you're actively working in it. But many communities are surprised at what real value and assets there. Right there door to door, right there in the neighborhood, right where the children live. So, and other resources needed. We may not have the back, but then we ask for some accountability also in your planning process. We ask for a delineation of who's going to do it, that's right. What help do they need, what's the timeline, and willing to hold themselves accountable to being checked on the back. So that way we move the process. And that's just a simple tool. We'll be collecting that and also having a copy of the national to be able to have some encouragement, oversight, being able to push, being able to promote, provide other resources where they see they're important. Just an example of what partnering means. And this is one simple example I bring you from the NCEBC process in Indiana. We partnered with the university. And they listened to community and brought us back a prioritization. We were to use that as a way to prioritize based on what the community says, or the things and the issues that most impact them. So just an example of how you identify an ally with a partner to, and again, I'm sure all of that and much of that is going on. So we also are willing and want to work with communities that have a plan and are implementing the plan. Let us understand where you are. Are there additional obstacles, new obstacles? Things are changing, reforms coming. So, you know, let's see if that is appropriate for the times for now, right? And then we ask that everybody try to make sure that you are part of and participating. I'll close with just a personal kind of piece. I heard a lot of things that we gotta do in order to help our children and save our children. I would lift up love them.
Yep, number one.
Love them. First, love our families, love our community. And then we're more willing to give of ourselves, give our heart, our time, our commitment. So that's a major criteria that's not always lifted. I like to try to raise it because, you know, it's really important about how we feel, how we treat each other, and how we treat our children.
Dr. Powell.